The number 15 overall seed Maryland hosts Wake Forest, UConn, and Long Island in their regional. This is the only regional, I believe, where the number one seed has a worse RPI than another team in the regional. And this time, Maryland's coming in with the 9 RPI with Wake Forest at 6. So it doesn't really mean that much, but it's something to note. And Wake Forest is definitely a capable opponent of this regional and could do some damage and could potentially upset a Maryland team that was probably considered a top 10 team in the nation and looking to be a top 8 host, which apparently wasn't good enough for the committee, ending up at 15 overall. But with Wake Forest and UConn, we don't really know what we're getting out of this UConn team. They have been ranked in many polls for most of the year just because their record was phenomenal, but they just haven't really played any good opponents. So seeing them against Wake Forest in their first game should definitely be an eye-opener to what this team has to put forward. And if they can beat Wake Forest, I wouldn't be surprised if they go in and surprise everybody and win this whole regional.
Yeah, like you mentioned, heading into that selection show there, I think everybody thought Maryland was a lock for a top 8 national seed, but they fall all the way to the 15 spot. And I will say, I think they were fairly compensated with a pretty light regional. I think this is one of the easier ones this year. And I mean, like you mentioned, Wake Forest certainly has some offensive prowess and could give them a run for their money, but I don't think Wake Forest is a contender on the national scale. And the same goes for UConn, who, like you mentioned, has been in the rankings for a good amount this year, largely due to their record. And I personally think that ranking was pretty fraudulent and just due to an easy schedule in the Big East. But we'll see how they play against some solid competition here in the postseason. Maybe they'll make me eat my words and win a couple games.
Yeah, and going back to Maryland, they're definitely looking to take the first step forward, playing a 4 seed. That's always what you like to do. It's the easiest team usually in the regional to beat, and Long Island isn't one of the better 4 seeds out there, so definitely doable for a Maryland team that has a lot of offense, having 123 home runs this year. In the regional, Wake Forest is just behind them with 115, so if we see that matchup, we could see a lot of firepower going on. But it should be very interesting how these things pan out with Wake Forest and UConn playing each other. Should be a good matchup, hopefully, with UConn having a decent pitching staff. Their offense isn't quite as good as Wake Forest, but should be a good indicator of if UConn is actually the real deal or not.
Yeah, and with no Big Ten committee members on the selection team, I think Maryland will be outgunning, trying to prove them wrong. They snubbed Rutgers from making the playoffs here, and I think Maryland's gonna try and make them eat their words and prove that the Big Ten is a viable conference and deserves more than 1 or 2 seeds.
Yeah, unfortunately for whoever comes out of this regional, they will be probably facing Stanford from the other side, which is just terrible news for Maryland, who definitely deserve to be a higher seed than they were given. But at the 15, you're going to be facing the 2 probably from the other side, which is Stanford, and that's just not really what you like to see. Thank you for watching and listening. If you enjoyed, we would really appreciate a like and subscribe for more weekly college baseball content.